Check, check, check. Hello, hello, hello. It's 7 o'clock. Good evening, good evening. Audio check, video check. How's everything doing? Check, test, 1, 2. Good evening, good evening. Awesome, all right. So it sounds like we're in good shape. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Tuesday night live stream. Our good friends are in the house tonight, and we're going to be chatting about a few things that have been going on this past week. It was really weird today. I was out working today, and I'll share with you a little bit of some footage here in just a second. But it was like 53 degrees, and within an hour it had dropped to 37. There's a cold front moving through, and there's snow all around me. No snow here. A little bit of rain, just a sprinkler or two. But yeah, it was strange. You gotta love winter in Idaho. Matthew Tola's in the house from Michigan. Hello, Matthew. And I believe your lovely wife is watching this evening too. I thought I saw you leave a comment. Olivia, hello. And John is in from Michigan as well. Michigan's well represented tonight. Two Feathers, our friend. Hi, Two Feathers. Great to have you here. Aaron Jemison. Hey, Aaron. Moderator extraordinaire. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you're well and see you back in Texas. Sherry P is in. Hi. And let's see. I'll get to reading the comments here in a minute. Regina Wood. Hi, Regina. Great to have you here this evening. Yeah, it's been an interesting week. I did get episode 2 out on Sunday. The interior tour. And the inside, frankly, of the truck camper is a lot better than the outside. Well, there's some water damage, but I knew that. And I think I explained that. For those of you that have been following along from the beginning, know that I didn't want to bid on it, and then I did bid on it. And anyway, that's, where we're at right now is that I've dug into it a little bit. I shared a few pictures last week. But we will definitely show you a few pictures here. Let me get things tuned up here so that I can show them to you. I have to get to a certain directory. Just a moment here. I thought I was ready, but I was also getting something else ready for you this evening. Some other stuff that I've been working on. As you know, I've been doing a home renovation as well, and so I've been out working in the garage trying to get it cleaned up so that I can use it as a workshop, because I got a fair amount of work I need to do, and so I went out and got myself a kerosene heater. I've had them before, been pretty happy with them, so I went and got a new kerosene heater here. But yeah, so today was an interesting day because I had gone up to look at some lumber that is available on the auction, and I was driving by the local monument company and happened to notice a big pile of wood outside, pallet wood, obviously from stones that have been shipped in. And just a minute here so I can flip you over here and let you see this here. Yeah, so I picked up a whole pickup load of pallet wood today and started ripping that up into firewood, and actually have a fire going tonight, and it's been real nice. I haven't burned the fireplace. I burned it once last year, and so I thought, well, heck, this wood's not good for much of anything else. I mean, you could strip it down and, you could make some decent wood out of it, but it's rough sawn, 1/2 inch, pine, some of it. I'm not sure what some of it is, because these are headstones that come shipped in these crates that you see me cutting up here. And, yeah, so I'm not sure. Sometimes you'll find exotic wood in these pallets like this, but I don't know if I really have any per se exotic wood in there, but it sure burns nice. It was nice and dry. And so, yeah, I spent, and my arm is really sore from running a saw all day. Then I also started working on the bubble windows. Let me get over here to the pictures I took. Let's see, that would have been Saturday. I think I shared some of these, but I wanted to share. Let's see here. I'm a little lost. I had all this set up, and then for whatever reason, the power bumped, and I lost all my. I had everything all ready to go, and I had to hurry up and scramble to get back in so that I could, you know, be ready for tonight's live stream. And so I'm kind of dragging my heels here a little bit to see if I can get caught up. But let's go over to the comments here real quick. All right, yes, let's see. So, oh, and by the way, be sure and drop a comment. Let me know where you're watching from tonight. That's always fun. John says he just watched my number 2 video on the inside, and yeah, it is a gem. It's pretty nice inside. Now, by the way, I did get the systems tested, everything but the water. As I mentioned in the video, I'm not going to do anything with the water until spring. It's all winterized. I did double check that and make sure that everything is looking good as far as it being winterized. So that's a good thing. But the fridge worked. The furnace doesn't work. I've done some troubleshooting on the furnace, and I believe I've got it figured out what it's going to take to fix, and actually already have the parts. I went to a place called PDX RV LLC. I found them on the web. And I have an Atwood 7916-II, or 2, I guess it is. Anyway, they had a complete service kit for it, which came with a new orifice, new temperature sensor, some other things. And then I was able to get it's a delay timer is what it is. And so really what it's built to do is to purge the combustion chamber of any gas before it tries to relight. Prevents flash outs and explosions and nasty things like that from happening. And I was able to find that relay as well. So I'll be working on that. I did get a pretty good list of tasks put together on what I'm going to be working on the camper reno. And I'll bring that up here and share that with you real quick. So you can kind of see here, and this isn't all-inclusive, trust me. This is just what I've kind of put together after having reviewed the videos that I shot, the episodes 1 and 2. And so as you can see here, I'm going to remove and reseal all the windows, remove and reseal the rear door. There's a gasket around it that needs to be replaced. I might replace the latch. It's not working very well. It's kind of worn out. I'm going to replace the trim on the compartment doors if I can find it. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, where I was looking for these pieces of trim that, let's see if I still have one of those handy here that I can show you real quick. Yeah. So the piece of trim that I need to replace, and there's quite a few of them, it looks like this. Can you see the cross section there? Okay. And you can see this piece is mitered because I took it off one of the compartments to try to look for the parts. This has been really hard to find, I'll tell you, unless you want to get custom built and buy 10,000 feet of it. Neither one of those are things that I want to do. So I'll just keep looking, and something will come up eventually. I need to investigate. There's some screws in the surface of the wall. I'm not sure what they're doing. I'm wondering if the wall maybe had separated. Going to replace all the rubber trim under the corner strips. There's a rubber gasket seal, if you will, that hides the screws. Clean and inspect the shower, the battery compartment. And I'm going to measure and figure out a new place to do batteries. Because, well, I want to try to reuse the existing battery compartment. because it's in a good spot. But I need to add one more battery. I want to get 200 amp hours of lithium batteries. And the battery compartment now is right next to the closet, one of the closets inside. And so I can scrounge up space to find space for a second battery. That actually works pretty good, because then I'll put my inverter, my solar charge controller, in that closet as well, and still be able to use it as a closet. So I think that's good stuff. But I'm going to have to do some rebuilding there to access that battery compartment that's on the outside. And then I'm going to clean and seal all the roof penetrations, refurbish the egress hatch. I'm thinking I might need to get an antenna, because I'm going to put a TV in it. It has the connections for a TV and all that in it, but there's no antenna, so I might put an antenna on it. As we talked about before, I'm going to replace the water heater with a tankless. The air conditioning system, as I noted, was missing. I'm probably going to replace that. I've already done this, so I can check that off. Inspected all the lines, the gas lines, the appliances. They all tested good with no leaks. The furnace, as I mentioned, isn't working. It's going to get a tune-up kit. I'm going to clean the fridge coils. I might add additional fan to the fridge. The city water connection is old and needs to be replaced. I'm going to go ahead and replace the water pump. I have a spare. I was carrying a spare with me when I had Rusty, my Newmar Dutch Star, and so I'm going to use it and then keep the old one from this one as a spare. Fix that kinked water line. I'm going to look at all the water lines, sanitize the freshwater tank. I got to fix the kitchen sink drain, etc., etc., etc. I think you get the general idea there. I'm going to put a video out this Sunday with all of that in detail for you, so you'll be able to follow along and see everything that needs to get done. Let me slip back over here to the comments again real quick. Two Feathers wishes everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and think of some things you're thankful for, like friends and family. Totally agree. Aaron Jameson is in and is welcoming everybody. A reminder, go over and check out Aaron's channel if you haven't already. He's got a great YouTube channel, and I'm sure that with a little tickle he'll put a link to his channel in the chat window, where you can just go click on it and follow him over there. Regina Woods in. Yes, great, Regina. And yeah, cold in Kentucky. Yeah, like I say, it got cold here real fast this afternoon. But it was looking like we're going to have a couple, 2 or 3 50-degree days next week. So that'll make some time for me to get working on the camper. Hi, Randy Waller. He's in from Iowa. Happen to know where he's at. John Carter's in. Yeah, been a while since we've seen you, but it's great to have you in tonight. Hello, Tim Myers. Awesome to have you in. Okay, Two Feathers is voting for Bubbles too. All right, so we're working on a name. We've been working on a name. Had some pretty interesting comments come in. Sir Lancelot, Musty. I'm not sure. Musty, Rusty. I kind of get the connection there. Bubbles. I totally get Bubbles. You know, from the Windows. As I said, I've been calling it the spaceship. So I don't know what to what to think about that. But yeah, so we're still looking for a name. Bubble Trouble, yeah. Trouble was my nickname when I was growing up. Let's see here. Tim says Washington State's been having a lot of wind. Yeah, it's been really windy. The wind has really picked up here in the last couple days. On Saturday or Sunday, I don't remember which. Must have been Sunday. It must have been blowing 40, 45 mile an hour here. Randy says, be sure to check the heat exchanger for cracks. Absolutely, Randy. I'm going to pull it all out, and I'm going to get set up to work on it in the garage. I've got propane equipment that I can hook it up. I've got a flared propane connection and all that stuff. So I'm going to pull it out and just set it in the garage and do all the troubleshooting on the garage. But yeah, I'm going to look the heat exchanger over. From what I could see from the outside, I think it looked okay. I don't know that it's had a lot of use, but what happens is that, as you probably know, Randy, there's a little thermal switch in there. It's an overtemp switch that's a safety feature, and they're notorious for picking up moisture. And even though they're in a sealed can, I wish I had one sitting here. Well, I had one earlier, but I've got it thrown or put in a box. But they'll get moisture in them, and then they'll quit working. So I've troubleshot down to the timer, and then I couldn't get past the timer because I have to have the timer working properly to be able to continue the troubleshooting. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be checking the heat exchanger out for cracks and stuff like that. Oh, and by the way, I do have a CO detector that I've got and already procured that will go in the rig as soon as I'm ready. I got a 12-volt LP and CO detector to put in it, and I'm going to put it right by the furnace. I'm going to put it right below the furnace is where it's going to go. Aaron just reminded me that, yeah, if you like what you're seeing, give me that thumbs up. Those are always greatly appreciated. It helps the video get ranked up, and yeah, more people get to see it. If you're not subscribed, I would be surprised that you're not subscribed, but please do subscribe and ring the notification bell. Lots of great content still to come. You can visit my website at trbolin.com. Plenty of RVing content over there, as well as some of my photography and some of my other interests. It's kind of a clearinghouse for everything running around in my head. But yeah, so let's see. Let's go back to the comments. Chris Hauser, hi Chris. Do I have a video, or have I talked about inverter generators? I'm looking at 2 Champion dual fuel generators. I have not done a video on generators. I do have well, not on inverter generators like you're talking about. I have 2 friends that have inverter generators, and one of them has the Champion that they got from Harbor Freight, which was remarkably quiet. Now, some of the Champions I've heard are really, really loud. And so that's the kicker with the inverter generators, is that they're loud. But the Champion one, you know, was pretty nice. It wasn't really loud. But if you want to, let's see, what's his name? You might look on YouTube for a cat named Hobotech. He does a lot of reviews on that kind of stuff. Generators, you know, off-grid fridges, all that kind of stuff. And he might be worth checking out for information on that inverter generators. Chris? Cherie P asks, do I have a favorite website to purchase replacement parts, or is it best to go to the dealer manufacturer? No, I love third-party RV suppliers, and in fact, I am an affiliate, which I need to add to my affiliate lists, for RecPro, RECPRO. And they offer a 5% discount on anything on their website if you use the code TRBolin. And I'll put that in the videos from tonight forward, because I just got that set up with them. RecPro, I have bought a lot of stuff from. I bought my roof from them. So when I did my roof replacement in 2018, I bought all the materials that I could through RecPro. And I found them to be extremely good. Very, very on the spot, shipping, good prices, and that's recpro.com. And if you want a 5% discount, that will take 5% off your total order. The code is TRBolin. I'll put that in my in my comments or in my description for the videos going forward. I could probably go back and add that, but I'll get there. So let's see, Cherie, that's one. Then yeah, I try to avoid the manufacturer. For example, I needed a skylight cover for my Newmar when I was replacing the roof, and I called Newmar, and they had the cover, and it was $300, and I was able to get it from RecPro for $116. So you're going to find that you're going to pay full list from the dealer and your manufacturer. You're probably going to pay full list if you go to your RV repair guys, the Camping Worlds. I don't want to slam any business per se. I just think that Camping World's prices are just out of this world. I've had to use them in an emergency situation a couple times, but I just have found that Camping World is pretty expensive. And I had to buy a vacuum breaker from them in 2018 that I could have got for $16 online, but I couldn't wait because I needed my toilet, and it's a part of the toilet, and I ended up having to go to Camping World and paying almost $50. So I guess that's probably my biggest complaint about Camping World, and some of the others. But yeah, there's some good online, reputable online people, and RecPro is one of the first ones that comes to mind, Sheree. It's warm in Texas. Well, warmish, it sounds like. Sheree P is in Sparks. Great. I love Sparks. I haven't been there for a while, but I have a good friend that lives in Reno. And yeah, I've been to Sparks many times. Erasmo Lopez, greetings from the Rio Grande Valley, deep South Texas. I'm super happy to have you in here, Erasmo. Send some warm weather up here. I haven't decided on a name yet, Randy. He still votes for Bubbles. And we got another vote from Two Feathers for Bubbles. Tim Myers says lots of wind, and okay, we're there. Bubble trouble. Okay, I'm catching back up here. If you have an RV related question, feel free to throw it in the chat window over there, and let me know what's on your mind. Also, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from tonight. Always good to know that. Let me see here if I can get over, and I think I finally have located the footage that I wanted to share. Yeah, here it is. Hang on here. I was going to share this mainly for John. I don't think he was in last week, and I shared some of this footage with y'all last week. But this is raw video. This is unedited, but I'll share this with you real quick so you can kind of see what kind of water damage I'm looking at having to deal with here on the truck camper. Play. So if you look real close there in the video, you can see water dripping out right here. So it was leaking very bad up here in this corner and getting water. You can see the water's been standing in here in this insulation for quite a while. You'll also note that all this wood here is rotten. It's rotten back in here. I'm going to have to remove all of this siding. I'm probably going to end up removing most of this siding here, at least down to probably this level here. I suspect that the wood looks okay up here by this window, but I suspect I'm going to want to go back here to put a seam probably right here at, this transition right here where the back of the truck bed meets the camper there, and take that out and rebuild this whole section in here. And I'm going to have to rebuild across here, and the same corner is leaking over here on the other side, hidden there behind the ladder. And so that's the bulk of the water damage that I know of so far. I believe there's probably a little bit more. I had mentioned in the episode 1, the outside tour, that the one outside compartment on the driver's side here at the back, there'd been some water damage. I also noted that the ceiling in the bathroom there's been something gone on with the ceiling in the bathroom, and then also there was that water, it looked like water in that storage compartment back there behind in the rear. And so I got to think that there's a corner that's been separated back in there. And I think I'll be taking that back and trying to see what's going on there. So I might have to take all the siding off the driver's side of the camper. Alrighty, back to our comments here. Tiny bubbles. Okay, John Besmick says he has 2 Generac generators, and I believe to be the most quiet and affordable. Yeah, Generac makes good gear. You know, Generac is known for building generators that you put on your home for whole home systems. And yeah, so, Jacob Hoots is in Battle Mountain, Nevada, the home of Battleborn Batteries, I believe. Well, actually, I think they're in Reno. But Battle Mountain, yeah, that's a cool place. Ian Fox is from Tucson. Hi, Ian. Great to see you. I miss being in Tucson for winter. I was lamenting about the weather today, and I still have Tucson on my tablet. And so I got to quit looking at the Tucson weather because it's making me jealous. John Medezic says he just made some fried apples. Too bad I'm so far away. It's a great camping treat. I agree. I have an amazing Dutch oven apple crumble thing that I love to make when I'm out camping with friends. Scott Mogich. Thanks, Scott. Great to have you in. You're welcome, Chris. And Chris is watching from Gallatin, Tennessee. Yeah, I love Tennessee. Lola is still in Colorado. Lola Roche is in Colorado. Great to have you in, Lola. Yeah, John says, okay, wow, you do have some work to do. Yeah, you know, it's not that overwhelming, to be honest with you. You know, I was thinking about this. I was talking to a friend of mine about this the other day. And I'd showed him, you know, what I got going on. Sorry, it was windy today and my lips are chapped like really bad. And I was showing him, and I said, Don, you know, I don't know what it is. It's just the accumulation of gray hair and a lot of experience working on projects, and stuff like that just doesn't intimidate me anymore. I know that just careful, patient, plodding along, step over step over step, and eventually you'll get there. Yeah, you'll fight it. You'll cuss a lot. You'll probably end up with a bunch of scrapes and stuff like that. But you'll get there eventually, and then you have the satisfaction of having done the project yourself. I think probably one of my favorite projects was my roof replacement project. I did that whole thing myself. No help whatsoever. I did have tools that I was able to borrow from Rick, you know, the guy who owned the lumber yard I was doing the project at. And, you know, I'll tell you what, without the forklift, that would have been a real huge project. You couldn't have done it yourself without that forklift that I had. So, but sitting back and looking at that 2 years later and saying, you know, I did that. And then I was reading in the forums the other day on the Newmar forum on Facebook about how somebody was bragging about their brand new roof that they paid $10,000 for. And I had under $1,500 in all the materials that I put into my roof. And it took me roughly 7 days, probably, well, I'm guessing probably at least 80 hours, maybe 70. But yeah. So the satisfaction of doing it yourself, don't get overwhelmed with it. Just be patient and you get through it. Ian Fox says, we're shopping around now for where to order our ground design. One dealer requires a $5,000 non-refundable deposit with no price lock guaranteed upon delivery. I've read this is normal. Yes, I have heard that too, and I've also heard that you're looking at 6 months potential lead time. Ian goes on to say, another dealer tells me their deposit is refundable. We're leaning towards them, and I'm hopeful they can match the better deal from the other one. So, Ian, the dealer that will give you the refund is probably the one you're going to want to take your rig to get it worked on. Now, it's brand new, but it's going to need to be worked on. There are going to be issues that come with it from the factory. Rarely do you get the perfect RV out of the factory. The question to ask yourself is, who do you want to do business with going down the road, and what kind of a dealer are they? Do they have a good rep? You might save. First off, the 5K non-refundable, that's kind of BS. All right, so I would call BS on that. But is the dealer that offers the refund a better dealer, or are you just getting a better deal and then their service is horrible? I would ask that question. And then, yeah, Aaron mentioned to Ian that the RV industry is so far behind right now. 6 months is not unusual if you're buying a new one. There's some new rigs starting to show up on lots locally here. I was out the other day by one of the big RV dealers here, Gander Mountain, and it looked like they finally had some new units on their lot. But yeah. Oh, it looks like he has a dually truck ordered too that he got in August with the build date of January. So what's that? 7 months? Wow. Oh, hey, Aaron, thank you so much for the super chat. I greatly appreciate that. Scott Mogich says, I assume the water got in through the seam on the roof. If so, what would be good to put on this or re-seam along the roof as preventable maintenance? Actually, Scott, the roof is in great shape. It doesn't appear the roof is leaking. It appears that the leak was, let me flip back over here and I'll share this with you. I have to juggle some screens around here so you can kind of see. The leak was coming in around the windows. I know this isn't the best shot. Let me see if I'm back here a little bit further. There we go. So the leak was in this corner right here. Now that's the corner of those bubble windows, okay, that are in this. And so the leak was in this corner. And then there was a leak at the bottom of this window, and then a really good leak at the same corner here. Now, when I actually just, guess it was was it yesterday? Yeah. Yesterday, I started working on the windows themselves, getting them started to get cleaned up. And I could tell that some of the windows had not been sealed very good. I think that's, yeah, this will work. So I'll share this with you. Again, a raw video, hasn't been edited in any way, shape, or form. Just me getting started on cleaning up these windows. And so you can see here that on the outside, especially like on this edge where I'm working right here, there doesn't seem to be a lot of sealant. What I'm actually doing here is pulling out staples. They stapled this window into the frame. But yeah, so I spent about an hour and a half yesterday cleaning all this old lap sealant off these windows, getting them prepped and ready to get polished up. And I have to tell you, I was sitting there trying to scheme and dream on, I've got some of the corners broke off the windows, or they were cracked, okay? And so I've been trying to figure out how the heck I am going to glue this acrylic. Now I know there's specialty acrylic glues. One Weld, I think is what it's called. Weld One, Weld On, something like that. They make a lot of the PVC welding, PVC glues, right, that you're going to use in plumbing. But they also make it for acrylic. And a little 4-ounce bottle is $18 by the time you get it. And I probably need, a couple milliliters. But then I was thinking, I have UV cure glue that I use when I'm tying flies. And I'm going to use the UV cure glue. That stuff is, it's dental glue is really what it is. It's not built, it's not manufactured to the standards that they make dental glue, but it's the same glue, the same kind of a, UV cured adhesives that they use in dentistry. And so yeah, that's I'm going to use that and see if that'll work on welding up and fixing up a couple of little cracks and a couple of missing corners. But yeah, the windows I don't think were sealed up really well, so I think that's partly why it leaks so bad. And also, it's 27 years old, and so it's bound to leak. Mary Stankiewicz, so nice to have you in. Good evening to you. Wishing you and yours a happy Thanksgiving as well. Enjoy the day. Yes, I'm going to Friends. Some friends that I've had for many, many years have invited me up for dinner, and so I'll be headed up there on Thursday. Aaron says, the leaker sounds like a good name. Yeah. John also has chimed in and said thanks to Mary for the reminder that it is Thanksgiving. We have a lot to be thankful for in this time of COVID. Yes, we do. That we're all here and able to sit up and take sustenance, and we're still alive and kicking and ornery in some cases. So, thank you. So, other questions or comments that you want to chat about tonight? We had a couple of questions come in last week. Foodport Chef had a question about 12 versus 24 volt service and systems, and whether or not there is a benefit to using, say, 24 volt for your inverters. It's easy. I mean, it's easy to string together 12 volt batteries into combinations. The most common ones are 12, 24, and 48 volts. The higher power systems, like you're going to find, 4, 5, 6,000 watt inverters, will work better with higher voltage sources, so 24 or 48 volts. In the typical travel trailer, fifth wheel, Class A, up to a certain point, I think your 12 volt systems are going to be the best. It's going to be the least expensive, your equipment costs less, that sort of stuff. You start getting into 24 and 48 volt inverters, DC I'm talking, and the price goes up considerably. So that's the one thing. Then the only other difference that I could find in my research, and I chatted with a couple of electrical engineers I know real well, and they said that, yeah, to step the voltage up from 48 to 110 is a lot less work. You get more efficiency, but it's not practical to run 48 volt systems or even 24 volt in your typical RV. It's just not required. You don't need it. The other one came in last week that I was going to look into was from, I think Ron Lee might have been the questioner. He's a regular. He comes and goes like a lot of folks, and that's cool. But he has a Norcold 1200 that's not cooling properly, and it's an older unit. And it sounds to me like if it's clean and the fans in the back of those Norcolds, on top of one of the condenser stacks, there's some fans that automatically turn on when it gets to a certain temperature to help the fridge cool better. And if those fans are not working, you could get in trouble. We had mentioned and talked about putting a fan on the outside to blow more air through the back of the fridge, and he said he had done that. And so it sounds to me like the unit might just be failing. It just might be old and tired, and they have a limited lifespan. You wouldn't know that from the fridge in my camp, my camp trailer or my sliding camper, because it's 27 years old. And when I tested it, I was shocked. I mean, I turned it on AC and left it for about 3 hours, and when I came back, the freezer was freezing. I mean, it worked really well. And then I flipped it off and turned it over onto gas and let it run overnight. And by the next morning, it was down to temperature, it was down to 42 in the fridge compartment, and it was down to 4 and the freezer compartment. So now, of course, the outside temperature was pretty, I mean, it was low, you know. The truth and the proof in the pudding, I guess, is what I'm trying to find. Stumble for my words here. Is will it get that cold when it's hot outside? Because, you know, that's where you're going to be. You know, that's where the question comes up. So I guess the jury's still out on it. But as fast as it cooled off, I'm encouraged that the fridge is going to be in okay shape. Two Feathers says, how often should I change the oil if I have synthetic oil? 2008. Aaron Feather says Two Feathers once a year. Yeah, if the oil in what? If it's a vehicle, you should follow, I think, usually around 7,500 miles is the, I mean, you know, that's what I run my Subaru. I run my Subaru on synthetic, and I run 7,500 miles on it. But yeah, once a year, or 7,500 miles. Definitely, again, what is it in? Is it a vehicle? Is it in your car, your truck? You should follow the manufacturer's ready. Okay, 24-foot Winnebago. Yeah, you should change that at least once a year. Forget about the mileage. The reason you're changing the oil is, especially where you're at, Two Feathers, where you're up in the Pacific Northwest, where where we get plenty of humidity up there. One of the things oil does is it will help trap the water inside your crankcase. And what I mean by that is that even when you're sitting, moisture will get inside your crankcase and sit in there, and that oil will help suck up some of that water. That's why it's so important when you go out in the winter, if you've got it stored in the winter and you're going out, you should be going out every month and starting up the engine and letting it warm up. But what that's doing is that's helping keep that oil moving around. It'll help move that moisture away from the components of the engine and get that water tied up in the oil so that you can drain it off. But yeah, once a year on your RV is, I would recommend that you do it in the fall before you put it in storage. That's typically the way you do it. That's what I did with Rusty, the Newmar. He went down to the shop and had the oil and the filters changed before I took it out and put it in storage. And that cost me $262 all in. It didn't need an air filter. The air filter only had, maybe 3,000 miles on it, and I hadn't been in a lot of dusty conditions. But yeah. Aaron, I disagree with you on the generator. Once a year on the generator as well. 3,000 hours is a lot on a generator, but a gas or a diesel, I try to do my generator every 250 hours is the way I run my generator. But it's diesel, at least the one on the RV on Rusty. But I think maybe 300 hours would be more appropriate. Maybe that's what you meant to type. But yeah, 3,000 hours on a generator, that's a lot of hours. And besides, generators only hold, if it's a gasser, it might hold 2 quarts of oil, so you're not out a lot of money. And those oil filters are cheap. But yeah, I would recommend a little bit more than that. Any other questions coming in? I'm just kind of looking over to see what we got going on here. I don't usually check a lot of the analytics during this stream because I like to pay attention. Yeah, 300 fat fingers. Yeah, I have fat fingers too, 2 of them. What time is it getting to be? 7:44. Oh, okay. So this week, the premiere will be the project list. I'll be running over that. Then next week, I've got a video on repairing the switches and the jacks. If you watched episode 1, you'll note that the switches on the jacks quit working on me, and I had to hotwire the jacks to get it to work. And so that's got me thinking I need to figure out a way to secure those wires, because a part of the beauty of that lifting system is that it's so easy that you could pull into a campground, drop your shell off, and then go. But I want to be able to secure the shell. And I've been trying to think of ways to figure out ways to secure that. With the wires out in the open, a smart crook will do just like I did, take a battery and just run the jacks up individually, load the camper up, and off you go. So I've been thinking about using maybe some liquid tight conduit. Watertight is another term for it. Getting some small liquid tight conduit, which makes it, you could still cut that, you could still get into the wires, but I've always said crooks are dumb and they're looking for the easiest path. And so, I'm just trying to make it a little bit more difficult for somebody to steal that thing. And it seems to me the best way to do that, and I thought about that, Tim Myers had mentioned a key switch. Yes. Actually, the cover is locking already. But there would be nothing to say that you couldn't break that. Or behind it, you could just disconnect the wires and through trial and error probably figure out which ones run which. But the easiest was to go right back to the jack, disconnect it at the jack, because that's just a hot in the ground. And you just reverse the polarity to run the jack either down or up. So yeah, I thought about a key. I thought about, a fuse, maybe running the wires up inside the coach or up inside the camper to hide the wires, and then putting a fuse inside or a switch or a key switch. So you'd actually have to break into the camper, then figure out where the switch is to get the dang thing to load. And I think that's too much trouble. And so what I'm trying to do is just make it tough for somebody to steal the thing if I leave it in a campground. How do I secure it? And so I haven't come up with a solution yet. And to be honest with you, I probably won't share it on the YouTube channel, just because, this is public, social media, and there's lots of people out there with bad intention. Yeah, it's a bit of a worry, but not too much. Two feathers. I'm not letting it bother me too much. I'll figure it out. Sorry, I'm fidgeting. I've got my fidget lighter, and I'll put it away. I've been trying not to fidget when I'm on live stream like this. Okay, so we're coming up on 8 o'clock. We'll make one last call here for any other questions or comments. I'm kind of tired. I didn't get my nap today, so I'm thinking maybe it might be time to go watch a little TV and maybe go to bed a little early tonight. But let me think if I missed anything else. Let me look at my notes from last week. Ron Lee was the guy with the fridge. I guess that's probably it. Alrighty, well, I think we'll call her good for tonight. Since we're kind of done, I'm out of content, and I'm kind of tired, so I think maybe we'll wrap her for tonight. Unless there's other questions that come in, we'll go just another minute or two. And in the meantime, I'll be wishing everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. Hope you can spend time with your family. And I hope you don't have to drive very far. I know gas prices are pretty high. It's $3.71 a gallon here. That's down from $3.79 a week ago. So, Stephen Linder, thank you for joining tonight and letting us know you're here. Good night, Sherry. It's so nice to have you here. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Alrighty. Well, hey, thanks everybody. It's so nice to have you here. Regina Wood, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you. I hope to see you here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. But I think for now, oh, well, there you go. Ian says, appreciate me. Appreciate you. We checked reviews and you saved us. Bad service department reviews on the refundable deposit place. Good night. Yep, good night. Glad to have helped, Ian. Thank you so much for letting us know. Judy Kimbrough, thank you and happy Thanksgiving to you. Anybody else want to say good night before we say good night? And then we'll see you all next week. Okay, Chris, thank you. Thank you, everybody. I think we'll call her good. Until we get together next week for another RV how-to live chat. 3:31 in Ohio, Gene. That sucks. Oh, hey, you just caught me, Ivan and Josie. Ivan and Josie RV Journey. You're back out on another journey, I see on Instagram. We are at a campsite for a week. Can I recommend some measures to take so the RV won't leak? Yeah, I could real quick, Ivan. Now, you've got a pretty new rig. So the only thing you probably need to keep track of is watch your corners and watch your roof. So just get up on the roof every 6 months, every 9 months, maybe once a year, no less than once a year. And just look at all the seams up there. And make sure all your seams have good lap sealant on them. There's no cracks, and that the lap sealant's in good shape. And if freezing temperatures, real quick, first off, you want to watch your water bay, and that's the main thing. You probably, if you're in freezing conditions and you don't have a heated hose, disconnect and drain your hose every night. So go out at the end of the evening, disconnect your hose and drain it. Now, unless you're in really super sub-zero cold temperatures, if you had a half a tank of water, you're going to be fine. It's not going to freeze that fast overnight. But I don't recommend that you have carry a lot of water if you're in freezing conditions. But yeah, if you don't have a heated hose, drop that hose every night. Don't leave your sewer hose connected. You could leave it out, but disconnect it from your connection on the trailer and leave it laying on the ground. And then, and I've mentioned this before a number of times, if you can find an old trouble lamp, and you probably know what I mean by trouble light, and in 60 watt to 100 watt incandescent bulb, put that in your water bay, and that should generate more than enough heat to keep things from freezing in your water bay. So those are the main things that you want to watch, is just to keep your valves in your water bay from freezing. I wouldn't recommend, do not recommend a space heater. I do recommend, if you wanted to take the time to get some heat tape and wrap the valves and the lines coming into the valves with heat tape, that would be okay. And Aaron correctly says non-LED. Right, it has to be incandescent. And I know they're hard to find. I went through this house when I bought it and replaced all the incandescents with LED. And so I have a lot of incandescent lights, 60 and 100 watt lights. I'm in Idaho and you're who knows where, so that's not going to do you a damn bit of good, is it? But the incandescent light bulbs are hard to find. But yeah, I don't recommend a space heater. But yeah, keeping that water bay from freezing is about the main thing you need to worry about. And like I say, drop your water hose every night. If you don't have a heated hose, drop your sewer hose. Keep that water bay closed up and try to get something in there to give you some heat, either some heat tape or a light, incandescent lamp, and you'll be fine. Okay, great question. Run us right up close to the end. Looks like $3.69 in Spokane. You can save yourself $1 if you go to Texas to fill up your tank. $2.69 in Texas. Wow. Well, they don't have a lot of gas tax down there. And up here in the West and back in the Ohio, like Gene's reporting $3.31, which ain't bad. That's 40 cents cheaper than it is here. But yeah. Okay, we'll call her good. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Have an awesome evening, and I hope to see you back here next week. Until then, peace. Good night.